What's going on, Maya?
Hey, what's good?
How you doing?
Good, good. So great to have you on. Oh my gosh. How are you today on this fine Friday?
Today is actually started off pretty busy. I actually just took my dogs to get groomed, but they're doing okay. They're in the back now, chilling. So, hopefully we'll have peace and quiet the whole time. But I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah, I totally get that. My roommate actually is fostering a dog. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. You
same.
already hear them in the back, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. That's me during all my meetings.
Okay.
Um, cool. Well, it's so great to have you on. I'll start off just by introducing myself. My name is Maya. I'm part of the Grid110 team. I'm the marketing intern, and I love to host lives with our founders to talk about their companies, give them exposure. And today we have the amazing Terrence from Barterr. Woo! Shout out. So to start off, I'll actually have you introduce yourself and your company, and then we'll be showing our shoe of the day, and that'll make more sense in a second once he introduces himself.
Cool. Cool. All right. So I'll just start. So sorry. I'll just start. So my name is Terrence Whaley. Currently living here in Los Angeles. And about 2 years ago, in 2019, I started a company called Soul 360, which is now Barter. And basically, what Barter is, it's an online peer-to-peer sneaker trading marketplace that we started, and we've grown the community to around 900 users. And now we really just want to basically build an app to continue to grow our community and to continue to make sneaker trading more mainstream for every sneakerhead out there.
Awesome. That's so cool. I can't wait to get more into that. So now we'll show the shoe we're wearing today.
Okay. I can't wait to see what you got. I can't wait to see.
Yeah. All right. So I think these are. I'm not sure what they're called. I was like, Terrence can help me. He'll know.
Okay.
But I got on some
Ooh.
regular. I think there's a Chicago. Is that what it's called?
Okay, are those are low tops, right?
Yeah, the low tops here.
Okay, I'm not mad at it. I'm actually not mad at it. They're pretty clean. They're pretty clean. I have a
I
pair.
did well.
I have a pair of low tops as well, but they're a collaboration with Travis Scott. Um,
Oh.
yeah, they're like a brown pair, but I like the ones you got on today. Stylish.
Okay. Nice.
Is it
Nice.
my turn?
Yeah. Your turn
Okay.
now.
All right, cool. So let me turn around the camera. Let's see. Okay, so this is a pair of Converse that I have on. It's actually a collaboration with this guy named Joey Fresh Goods, who actually just released a pair of New Balances yesterday. But basically, what this shoe is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a an ode to a lot of the first pairs of shirts that he did. So he actually started like a clothing brand first off, and he started getting into sneaker collaborations. So this shoe is like supposed to have a lot of crazy colors in it, a lot of crazy, kind of designs to go along with the first pair of shirts that he did, and that's what I'm rocking today.
Wow. Those are a work of art.
Thank
That's
you, thank you.
amazing. I
I,
didn't. You blew me away. I was not expecting.
no, I like to have a lot of I guess color in my outfits, and like with the shoes too. I always kind of like to play around with the styles and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. That you definitely got the heat on the feet. You
Thank
came.
you. Thank you.
Cool. That was fun. And now we'll just get into getting a little bit more about you. You're part of our current residency program, the summer 2021 cohort.
Mhm.
Um, I want to hear about Terrence, like how you first found Grid110 and what inspired you to apply and how you feel now in the program now that you've become a part of it.
Sure thing. So I guess I first heard of Grid110 through this I guess you could say it's a co-working space out here in Los Angeles called Vector 90. So I had a friend of mine, his name's Garrison Gowans. Shout out to Garrison if you're watching. I'm not sure if you're watching, but really, he was the one that first told me about it. Basically, that Grid110 is a great place for entrepreneurs who are really starting to start out on their business, that might need a little help along the way. And really, that was maybe about a year before I applied. So I kind of just followed you guys on Instagram to stay attached. And I really like the content that you guys had. I like the cohorts that you guys worked with. And I felt like it was the sense of community that I needed to start off with. And really, once you guys opened up, I think it was the summer application or the fall application, I just shot for it and I said, you know what, like, I feel like my business is right where it needs to be. I feel like I had enough to feel confident in my application, and I just went ahead and put it through. And then once I got accepted, working with Mickey and Carolyn to go through my interview and my pitch, meeting the cohort has been really great, just because of the fact that everybody, even last night, like in the meeting, like seeing what the gives and asks were, and like what we all can offer each other, and just being able to see that the community is really valuable, is where I want to be, basically.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. And I know that you've actually attended some Grid110, before you were even a Griddy. You've definitely involved in our community. And so I think that's so cool now that you're in the program, going through it full force. Have you noticed any particular challenges so far, or any accomplishments you want to share thus far, like now that we're on week 5 going on week 6?
Specifically talking with Grid110, or just my company in general?
Just like your company, kind of like what's like gone on in your company to do better in the program. If any of our workshops or speakers have helped influence how you're kind of thinking about your company now, or if it's shown you new challenges with your company, pushed you to do anything. That's
Got you. So I would definitely say the part about talking to your users and really getting feedback more regularly. That was something I guess I struggle with, just because I'm an introvert at heart, to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm a sneakerhead. I've been in this community. I feel like, yo, I kind of know what the common person wants. So I kind of fed off that, and me and my team kind of fed off that. But now more recently, we've been more so reaching out to them one-on-one to garner feedback about what it is that they saw in our MVP that they felt that we lacked, and then also what they felt like we could do to make our community better. So I would say that specifically. And then also just doing the hard work of really being specific about what we think we offer, through value proposition, and through, what was the other word I wanted to use? Oh, and just through just value, between the problem and the solution, making sure that our solution of what we think the solution is actually solving the customer's problem.
Definitely. We've been talking so much about problem fit, talking to users. So it's great that that's really kind of sunken in for you thus far. So I'm really excited now to kind of get into Barterr, and I would love to hear what it was that first drew you to the sneaker community, inspired you to start the company. I know you were working in the tech scene before, so kind of what made you put that and go full force into this, and what's your founding story behind that?
Definitely. So my love with sneakers definitely started with my older brother, Eric. I tell the story kind of all the time about anybody that asks me about sneakers. Really, my brother just had this enormous, or to me it was enormous, collection of sneakers. And I always just wanted to be like him. So over the time, I would try to keep up with him, but I never could, right? He is so 50 or 60 pairs of sneakers ahead of me. And that's where my first origin story is, with just being connected with sneakers, and then going and reading blogs to keep up with the more recent releases. But Barterr itself came through just because I genuinely had a problem with the way the sneaker community was headed as far as trends were concerned, by always having to see the sneaker release that I wanted sell out, and then really not being able to participate doing anything else. I could go on Go or StockX and cash out on a pair of sneakers, but I didn't want that to be my primary transaction. So I felt like there were two things that were missing in the sneaker community, and that was, one, the actual communication between sneakerheads and people that were interested in sneakers. So the actual community platform piece being on the platform, and then secondly, just the enormous resale prices and the fact that you really couldn't participate by trying to cop sneakers unless you were willing to shell out that price. So I felt like sneaker trading brought those two problems together as a solution, because with sneaker trading, it's all about trust. Like you gotta be able to feel like you trust the person and the trade partner that you're trying to do business with. So we wanted that community aspect to be on the platform. And then secondly, the fact that sneaker trading kind of gives you an additional opportunity, maybe not on just release day, but just on your everyday type of transactions that you can use to get a sneaker that you want without having to pay that crazy price all the time.
Okay, I see. And I love that you point out those two main issues. So I feel like a lot of us, even I'm not super in the sneaker community, but I've wanted a pair. I've looked at a launch before and I'm like, okay, well, that's just unattainable for me. Or I don't even know like
Exactly.
surrounding that. So I love that you're filling that gap and addressing the main issues. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, it's super cool. I also have a question about, you mentioned that it started out as Soul 360,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then kind of like now you're pivoting or rebranding to Barter, and with this new chapter, starting Grid 110, kind of going into this new chapter of building your business.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired that rebranding or that pivot, and what's the greater kind of meaning behind in that name?
Definitely. So honestly, just like I said, over my time of being a part of the sneaker community, sneaker culture, one thing that you notice, even on Instagram or just through all the smaller brands that might not be as big as GOAT, StockX, and the likes of those people, is that a lot of businesses prefix their business with the name Soul, and it's kind of like an easy way to kind of like step in and like name your business. And Soul 360 I felt was short, and like the domain name was available, and I felt like it was a really good name, but I just really wanted to separate us as a name. And then also, if we wanted to get into other markets, I wanted something and a name ambiguous enough that felt like we could tap into other markets if we decided to go that route, to not only just be a sneaker for sneaker trading platform, but to offer other assets, other alternative assets on the platform, that we could do that with the name change.
Okay, okay, yeah. That's definitely a smart move on your part, kind of pivoting from like soul being just sneaker based, having the sneaker connotation there. And like when I think of barter, it's like I think of like the trading. And it,
Exactly.
like that old time, like back in the day when people would barter for different items and things like that. So I
Exactly.
really like the new name. I really
Thank you.
like um and so kind of getting more into like the culture around sneakers, like
Mhm.
the community. What aspects of that culture really excite you or kind of are special and unique in this community that can't really be found, other types of communities?
Awesome. So I would say right now, actually, there's this. I guess you could call it a trend. I don't like really using the word trend, but what I'm
Mm.
noticing is that I guess the next generation of sneaker startups are offering that community aspect to their platform. So, like for example, like I was kind of telling you earlier, like the StockX's and the Ghosts kind of sit up at the top as these billion-dollar companies, but
Mm.
they don't offer the community aspect on their platform. But now, like what I'm seeing is, for example, there's this company called Another Lane that allows for community aspects, or Sneakerhood is another opportunity, like where they also offer community. Soul Savvy. It's these new generation of companies that are starting to more care about the consumer rather than just the dollar amount and the value of the sneaker. I think that's really important. I think, like I said, I mean, the sneaker resale market is like a $6 billion market. It's moving towards 6 billion. So there's a lot of players in the pie, like to serve. And I feel like that community aspect is the number one trend that I really like right now, and I feel like is starting to take a hold in the sneaker game. I would say another thing, and this is probably gonna lead on to another question that we have later, but it's what I'm really seeing now is this shift of Black designers and Black brands that are being able to collaborate with these bigger companies like New Balance, Nike, not only with the Travis Scotts and stuff like that, but some other people that are local to Los Angeles too, with Casey Lynch and people like that. I'm really loving that as well, in the sneaker game as well.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, and totally perfect. like kind of there, like you said, my next question about was about like the up and coming trends. Like you said, it's I feel like trend really isn't the best word to use. Maybe it's more the the new type of thing, like what people are evolving into or what they're kind of latching onto as they
Mm-hmm.
see styles come out and new things evolve.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in that light, like what new sneaker trends as far as the sneakers themselves, like the actual colors, do you see emerging right now?
Well, right now, the number one thing that's going on is dunks. So what I'm seeing is Nike's doing a really big push on their skateboarding sneakers. People wear them casually, just like regular, regular shoes that you'd wear on a day to day. That's the
Mhm.
number one trend I'm seeing right now. And then obviously just the collaboration. So all these brands, specifically New Balance, Nike, and Adidas, are noticing that the audiences that these artists, and I guess you could also call them like smaller influencers, have, and they're tapping into those. So you've got Bad Bunny, you got what's it called? You got Travis Scott at the top, really, and then you've got also like the smaller, not influencers, but like I was saying earlier with Joey Fresh Goods, the shoe I have on today. Um, Casey Lynch. There's this other guy named Salehi Benberry that does business with New Balance. Um, Basically, collaborations are really sitting up at the top of what I see to be what people are more interested in. So it's not those models that have released 10 years ago or that, Nike did originally in their catalog. It's more so that there's these new colorways and these new collaborations that are coming out that people are more interested in.
Okay, okay. I feel like that's really cool and pretty. Another thing that's pretty unique to the sneaker community, because like,
Mhm.
if I understand correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, what kind of happens with collaborations is like two brands or either like artist or like brand and influencer will kind of work together on the design factor and like the execution of a shoe, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. And then it gives both sides um, the opportunity to tap into their communities, into their audience, into their customers. Really, you know what I mean? Like Kanye West, to tap into and be a multi-billion-dollar net worthing like or net worth person. Like it was perfect. It was a perfect deal for him and Adidas to like come together and make those collaborations and make those sneakers. So that's what I'm seeing right now is that those shoes seem to be the higher in demand when they come out.
Okay, okay. That's really cool. Yeah, and to your point, like it does bring in sort of different communities and different like it's how the secret community really connects with the music culture and like the hip hop scene, and then also like there's artists out there, other influencers who are doing their own brand, their own thing. I think
Hmm.
it's cool how it can all in the end kind of interconnected and friendly in that way.
And that's the thing too. Like that's kind of what I'm also seeing as a challenge for my business is just because there's I don't want to call it noise, but it kind of is. It is a lot of participants in sneaker culture right now, and that's not a bad thing. It allows for new content and it allows for like just new styles of sneakers to drop all the time. Um, but what I've noticed with my business right now is to try to figure out a way that we can communicate our brands and our offering uniquely through the noise. Because right now the main thing is resale. It's like my customer and my community. We've been fixated over the past 5 years that it's like if you don't drop or if you don't get it on release day, you got to pay that resale price. So it's about trying to figure out how we can brand ourselves to try to change that conversation too. And that's another thing we're trying to work with at Barterr as well.
Okay, cool. I like to see that that's your focus, and you definitely have your work cut out for you in that
Hmm.
sense. But
Exactly.
I know where you're at, and it seems like community is a huge, very aspect for you. I'm sure you're gonna focusing a lot on community, which is great because that's something we are heavy on here at Grid110 as well.
Hmm.
Um, so my last kind of serious question, then we'll get into a few final fun questions before we wrap,
Okay.
is what advice, any tips and tricks do you have for other founders who are either trying to get into or already starting to dip into the shoewear space, or or the apparel / e-commerce space, or really just any type of trading platform where it involves like, heavy on community, heavy on having that culture surrounding it?
Okay, so I would say three things come to mind. The number one thing though is trying to find your target market. So the person that you feel like you appeal to the most. So in my example, if you were trying to start a trading platform, you wouldn't necessarily like maybe you wouldn't want to go tech like right after the resale type of person because that type of transaction is not what they're trying to do with trading. You know what I mean? They're more so trying to get the profit for the sneaker. For us, we're more so looking for like a sneaker collector who's more has a lot of sneakers that is more willing to let one or two sneakers go at a time to get a new sneaker, you know? So trying to figure out who your target market is. And the only way you really gonna do that is by sitting down, doing the hard work and like researching and talking to your users. So that's the second thing is once you try to figure out who that target market is and you try to collect some of those emails, you know, whether it's through MailChimp, HubSpot, whatever you use, or Excel, you know what I mean, is to talk to those users, go out and talk to them and try to figure out like, is what you're offering and the solution that you have to the problem is what it is that you're trying is accurate. And then the last thing is, dang, that was something on my mind. Is once you feel like you have that, don't go too hard on your MVP. I would say like don't try to make it too flashy or like just try to get the point across of like what it is you're trying to offer your customer. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, wait. I think you just cut out for 1 second. I can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah. All good now. I can hear you.
Okay. All right, cool. So lastly, the last thing is just the MVP, just make sure that you don't try to spend, I guess, too much money on it or too much time on it. Just try to get the point across of like what it is that your solution is, and then iterate over it over time by talking to your users. And I would say that's really it. You take those three things, that's a great baseline to get started.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that knowledge drop. That's amazing. Amazing advice. And yeah, to end up, I have like two more fun questions, more personal to you. I'm wondering, what is your like all-time sneaker? I'm sure it's a really hard question. Like of all the styles you've seen, of everything that you've probably like worn and traded and had, but what I guess is your all-time favorite shoe?
Okay, so right now, it's definitely the Jordan 1 Union collaboration. They had like it's basically called the Los Angeles, so it's like a blue toe sneaker. So that's my number one right now. It's my grail. That's the shoe that I feel like kind of tops all of the other ones for me right now. And then also a close second, just like as a recent release, it's definitely the Soleil Benberry Water Be the Guide New Balance that just released maybe about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Those two right now are my favorite.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I'll have to look those up. I'll have to look those up. Sound really cool. And then lastly, like, what is the craziest, like, coolest trade that you've seen? What happened behind it, or what? Either it was like the shoes that you traded, or what's the craziest story that you have?
Okay, so I think this was back in like 2014. It was maybe like All-Star game for the NBA.
Okay.
This pair of Nike Air Foamposites came out. It's called the Nike Air Foamposite Galaxy. They were traded for just like a regular car. So like I'm saying, it was maybe like the value was probably like $3,000, $4,000. It was like a really old used car, but it was a car traded for a sneaker, and I was that's really kind of goes back into the name change because we felt like we wanted to see how likely are those transactions to really be in real life where people are really willing to trade like that. So that's kind of where we want to kind of go in the future, where we want to take the company. But that's also just vision in like 10 years and all the way. We got to make sure the sneakers work first. The sneakers work first. But definitely. So yeah, that's probably the craziest trade story I've heard.
Wow, that indeed insane. I did not expect that whole car.
Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy, but people will do crazy things for sneakers for sure, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And real quick too, I actually wanted to tell you because I remember one of the first sessions you talked about red paperclip story,
Yes,
how that
yes,
inspired you and the whole idea behind that factory to a house.
yes.
Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, something pretty funny in my high school. I think it was in my high school. They talked about that story, and we had a building exercise where we actually went out. And I'm from Boston, so they brought us to the city of Boston, gave us all paper clips, and we had to go through the the exercise ourselves. We had like 3 or 4 hours. We were like split into groups of three.
Okay.
I was with my two friends. We had this paperclip, and we were just going up to strangers. And obviously, this is all pre-COVID. Going up to strangers, like, "Hey, like, could you use this paperclip for anything? Like, do you have anything to trade?" It was such a cool experience. We actually ended up with, I think it went paperclip, and then someone had like a lighter, and then someone else had like, somehow we ended up with an umbrella. So we got a free.
Okay. You was working, you was continuing to trade that, and that's a great story. Like that's also something that kind of goes into our ethos as a company. Definitely something we want to offer, in the future. So we'll see. We'll definitely. But that's awesome though. The fact that you guys ended up with the umbrella from Paperclip, that's you was doing the work. You was doing the work.
Right. Right. Just like seeing that value go up, but then also knowing like to the other person, like the thing was of value to them. So it's
Exactly.
like, yeah, it's really cool. Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you so much, Terrence. I guess if there's anything now, you have upcoming announcements about, or anything we should be on the lookout for the horizon, like the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, let us know.
For sure. So right now it's really just our team is working on our app. We just finished kind of like our app designs. So the next step for us is to continue to build out our go-to-market strategy, our launch strategy, and then to also find a team of app developers that we want to build the app. So that's something that we want to get out by the end of the year. There's some sneaker trade shows that we want to go to, like some sneaker conventions that we want to, introduce the app to. So we definitely want to participate in those. And the last thing, I just want to shout out some people. I want to shout out my mom. She's been my main supporter. I want to shout out Melissa. I want to shout out all my friends and family, that showed up to the live and that always, support us from day to day. Thank you. You guys keep my energy up and then also just keep me from, being stagnant as well. So I want to thank you. And thank you, Grid110 as well, obviously.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love that. I love to hear it. Definitely keep an eye out for the app later this year. It's really exciting. That's definitely a huge thing. Launching something like that, huge undertaking. I can't wait
Yes,
to see how that comes out, and love how you're spreading the love to all your support as well. Especially with working with small businesses, it's great to see how every little inch of support and love goes a long way. To the person behind the business. So
exactly.
yeah, with that, thank you so much, Terrence, for joining today. I had an amazing time, and I'll see you very soon in the sessions. Of
Thank you. Thank you, Maya. Thank you for your time.
course. Thank you.
Cool. Bye.
Bye, everyone.